I'm just west of Shenandoah National Park near Rileyville, Virginia, and that's my red car parked there. There's no parking lot here. This is just a little country road, and you park along the shoulder there, which is a little iffy, but hey, for a day hike I think it's okay. And we're going to be hiking up Jeremy Run. There's the trail there. There's a yellow blaze on that tree, so I think this is it right here. But we're not in the park right now, but we're going to be hiking. We're starting on the west side of the park, and we're going to hike east from the bottom up the mountain for about 4 miles. That's about halfway up Jeremy Run. I'm planning to hike it up to a point where I reached from the top hiking down a couple years ago. So between that hike and this hike, that'll mean that I hike the entire length of Jeremy Run, although not all in one hike. So here we go. Okay, here's the park boundary. There's the boundary sign right there. And there's one of the Shenandoah National Park concrete trail markers with hiking information on the bands. The elevation here is about 1,000 feet. I forgot to reset my trip odometer when I started, but I'm about 4/10 of a mile into my hike. So I'll have to add that to my GPS mileage at the end. Here's where we're going. The trail starts out just as a road. I think it's called Jeremy Run Road, and you're basically following Jeremy Run, and then all of a sudden it veers off and starts coming up this mountain. It's fairly steep right here. So we're going to head up this way. It's about another mile to the next trail intersection. Down there's where I came from, up the side of the mountain. So we're going to head on up this way, and my only concern right now is I forgot to bring my Crocs. I use Crocs as wading shoes to wade across creeks and things. I forgot to bring them. So depending on how much water there is in Jeremy Run, I may have to take off my hiking boots, you know, as many as a half a dozen times to get up as high on Jeremy Run as I'm planning to go. But we'll see what happens. Here we go. We're back on the old Jeremy Run Road, or what part of it's called Jeremy Run Road anyway. But we took a little detour on a pretty narrow trail up the side of the mountain to get up to this elevation, and now we're back onto the what I would call the main road coming down the side of the mountain. It runs along next to Jeremy Run. Going to keep on heading upstream. Here's my first contact with Jeremy Run on the trail. As you can see, the water level right now is really low. It rained here a couple days ago, but it doesn't take very long for water to drain off the side of the mountain. So here's the flow you got like 2 days after. You can see down there it's pretty wide, and there's a lot of trees that have been dragged down. So, you know, these mountain streams, they go from practically nothing to extremely dangerous and powerful, depending on the rain. So for now, we're going to keep heading upstream. Here's the trail. Getting ready to go up another steep section right here. Still working my way up Jeremy Run, but I thought I'd show you this. Jeremy's Run is way down there. This is a really steep canyon here. Jeremy's Run is down there. The trail's way up here where I am because it's too steep to make a trail down there. And over there, way up there, maybe you can see the ridge line through the trees of the opposite side, and that's not very far away. So this is a pretty steep canyon right here. The road is still looking pretty much like the trail's still pretty much looking like a road. It's steep here, but anyway, still a road, really wide, and it's easy to hike on. So for now, we're going to keep going up the side of the mountain. This might be a little bit better view. That's the opposite side of the canyon up there. And down there is Jeremy's Run. Maybe you can hear it. And here we are hiking up. Alrighty, here's the first crossing with Jeremy's Run, and let me walk up here a little bit so you can see it better. As you can see, no problem. Let me get out here on the rocks. I gotta go across anyway. Pardon my jiggly camera. So there's the trail where we're headed, and there's looking upstream. If I come over here, there's looking downstream. Right there. Pretty wide down there. And I see a yellow blaze on that tree, so we're going to keep heading up this way. So I'll try and keep track of how many times we have to cross Jeremy's Run till we get up to where I'm stopping. Okay, well, as it turned out, I ended up having to cross a couple different little sections of Jeremy's Run. I made about 3 crossings here in what I was calling the first crossing. It's real wide and flat here. There's looking upstream. It's real wide and flat here. If there's any significant flow here at all, you're going to need some wading crocs or something to get across here. And if it's been raining hard, I don't know if you could even cross here. It would be too dangerous. But it's fine right now, but I just thought I'd put that in my video, that this looks to me like when it rains and you get some significant flow here, this is going to be hard to cross. Okay, here's the first intersection I came to. This is the intersection with Neighbor Mtn Trail. Here's where I came from. And this way is Neighbor Mtn Trail. The signpost tells me it's 7.5 miles up to Matthews Arm Campground. And we're going to continue up this way. So here we go. Okay, just a couple of 100 feet further up from the first signpost is this second signpost. Jeremy's Run veers off to the left, and it's blazed blue starting here. And that trail there, which is blazed yellow, continues on up the side of the mountain there. That's Neighbor Mtn Trail. And that's blazed yellow, so you can take horses up that way. But starting here is foot traffic only for Jeremy's Run Trail, which is blazed blue from here on. Okay, there's a sign right there next to Jeremy Run that says no camping. There's enough trees blown down here that if you tried camping there, you'd have to do a little clearing, but you're not supposed to camp that close to water anyway. But here's the trail, and up there, if you're a hammock camper like I am, I went up in there, and there's some pretty good spots up in there, primitive camping type stuff. And I see a few little trails in through there, which tells me other people have used that as a campsite too. So if you're into hammock camping, right up in there's a pretty good spot you could set something up. I'll mark this section of the trail with my GPS with a waypoint. For now, we're going to keep on heading upstream. Here's the second crossing of Jeremy Run. It's sort of two crossings combined into one. And there's a trail straight ahead on the other side. I can see a blue blaze over there. So again, no water to speak of right now. Here's a large camping area. It's nice. It's on the opposite side of Jeremy Run from the trail. You have to cross over the run to get over here. But man, this is flat, and it looks like a lot of people have used it in the past. Here's a look at Jeremy Run. You can get over here by hopping on these big boulders. The trail is on the other side, just over there. That's where the trail is. Here's where you can cross over. So there's plenty of water here. And come up here. And I mean, there's plenty of trees for hanging hammocks. The ground's covered with pine needles and stuff. There's flat spots where you could set up tents. So, and this is about 2 miles hiking distance from where I parked my car. So anyway, there's a nice, I might come back here myself and do an overnighter. Here's another crossing of Jeremy's Run. It's not very wide here because it's actually multiple crossings here. I'm just showing you the last one. There's a blue blaze over there, and we're going to keep on heading upstream. Here's a smaller campsite. It's nice though. I almost missed this one. This one is on the same side as the trail. As you're hiking upstream, the trail's on the right-hand side of Jeremy Run, and this is also on the right-hand side. But it's a very dim trail coming up here. I almost missed it. But anyway, there's one spot there. Take a look around. And then back here, over there, is sort of a second little spot, so you could really have two camping parties here if you wanted. And then Jeremy's Run is over there and down just a little ways. I'm up on a little bit of a rise here. But you could make this work as a camping spot for probably a couple tents. There's plenty of trees to hang hammocks by here too, so this is another nice little spot. And it's kind of out of the way. If you're up here, a lot of people walking down the trail aren't even going to see you. I'll mark this one with my GPS. Alrighty, here's another nice little camp spot. I almost walked past this one too, but there's a little teeny dim trail that came up here. Jeremy's Run is just over that rock embankment, and down the sides of the embankment there are fairly steep, but you can get down to get water if you need it. Take a look around. Here's another nicely cleared off spot. All those rocks over there would make nice convenient place to put your cooking stove or even sit on. And then over here, kind of off to the side, there's another little spot over there that somebody could set up camp in. So you've got that little spot, and then there's this great big area here. There's the rocks, and then there's the little trail that takes you back over to Jeremy's Run Trail and Jeremy's Run itself. So I'll mark this one with my GPS also. Here's the next crossing of Jeremy's Run. I'll mark this one with my GPS. We're up to about 1,350 feet elevation. We're about 3.8 miles into the hike now, and the elevation here is about 1,400 feet. Here's another crossing of Jeremy Run. It's about 4/10 of a mile to my destination. I'm hiking up to the spot where I stopped hiking a couple of years ago. A couple of years ago I hiked from Skyline Drive down Jeremy's Run, and I hiked down about 4 miles or so and stopped, and then hiked back up. So I marked the point where I stopped with my GPS. So I'm going to hike up to that point today and eat lunch there, and then that way I can say I've hiked the entire route from the very top up near Skyline Drive all the way down to the bottom near Rileyville, Virginia. So here we go across Jeremy's Run again. I've lost track of how many crossings. Here's another crossing of Jeremy's Run. According to my GPS, I'm within about 300 feet of my destination, so probably just right around that bend I'm going to find the spot where I ate lunch. Let's see, the elevation here is About 1,460 feet. Okay, I finally reached the spot where I hiked to a couple years ago. Here's what Jeremy's Run looks like here. I set up a hammock. I didn't bring one with me this time, but last time I was down here a couple years ago, I set up a hammock, believe it or not, between that little tree in the center, just to the left of the big one. And then I ran the other end of the hammock over to that little teeny tree that's just to the right of the one slightly larger. So I sat there and I had lunch. While I was eating lunch, I hear this noise, and down the trail comes this big old black bear. Scared me half to death. But anyway, when he saw me, he turned around and went back up the other way. That's looking upstream. Here's some more of Jeremy's Run here. I'm kind of standing in the middle of it. And then there's the trail heading back down the side of the mountain, down to where I came from. So I'm going to take a look at the stream here. I think I see some small fish actually over there in the shallows, some little minnows. So I'll go over there and see if I can see any fish. And then, now that I've looked at this place, I think I'm going to turn around and go back down about a half a mile to one of the other crossings that looks like it's a little bit nicer to eat at. Bunch of baby fish here. Probably trout. Okay, I'm back to the last crossing before I turned around. This is a nice little area here. I think what I'm going to do is park my butt on that big rock right there and eat some lunch, because it's about 1:45. Okay, here's today's exciting cuisine for a trail meal. We have star-kissed tuna creations tuna. You just rip it open and put it on those tortillas and roll it up. That's hickory smoked flavor. Over here we have a Quaker brand Real Medley's cherry, pistachio, multigrain, fruit, and nut bar. 170 calories. The always popular Keebler cheese and peanut butter crackers. Made with real peanut butter, by the way. And wash it all down with some bottled water. And for dessert, we're going to have a Smith & Wesson revolver. That sounds tasty. So there you have it, today's trail meal. Just thought I'd show you this way that I've got my pack. Here's my day pack. hanging from this tree. This is just a piece of parachute cord, and I put a bunch of loops in it every, oh, I don't know, every 4 or 5 inches. And so you just take it, and there's a loop on the end here. You wrap it around the tree, run it through that loop, and then you just pull it tight, and then whatever's the closest loop that's hanging out of it, you can just take a carabiner and clip on there. These are just cheap Coleman carabiners. They're not used for climbing or anything serious, but they're fine for hanging up stuff like this. And that's just a way that you can get your pack up off the ground. There's plenty of rocks to set it on here, but sometimes if you're in the woods or overnight, even with a full pack, you can do that and keep it up off the ground. And all you need really is one carabiner and some parachute rope or some other rope that's sufficiently strong. So there you go, just another little idea. There's another little pool where there's minnows trapped until the next set of rains comes. I don't know if you can see any of them down in there or not, but the fish get trapped in these little pools of water until, you know, another rain comes, and then they can move around either upstream or downstream. But for now, they're stuck in this little pool until it rains again. Here's an interesting little guy moving around. Fuzzy little caterpillar. He's heading down towards the water. I don't know what he's going to do when he gets down to the water. Let's see what happens. Yeah, he decided he didn't want to go for a swim. He's going to come back up. Here he comes. Well, anyway, there's another resident going about his business. Still on Jeremy's run trail here, heading back down the side of the mountain, back towards my car. Just thought I'd show you a little bit of the trail here. This is part of it that doesn't really look like a road to me, although it could be. This is pretty easy hiking. Uncle Clark would recommend this hike, even for a casual hiker. The only problem you would have on this hike would be if it had been raining. Some of these crossings could be a little tricky to get across, or maybe even impossible if it had been raining hard. So this is definitely a hike worth taking. There's a bunch of campsites along the way. I'll mark them on my video, on my YouTube video, the approximate locations of them. And you can hike Jeremy's Run either from the top up the Skyline Drive and come down as far as you want to and go back, or you can do like I did this time and start at the bottom and work your way up. From the bottom all the way to the top is about 8 miles. That's a pretty long hike though. And the part up near Skyline Drive is pretty steep. looks like I got to cross Jeremy's Run again here. So anyway, here's a look at one of the crossings. I'm going to turn off the video now because I'm sure you're tired of seeing the jumpy video. Still working my way down the side of the mountain here on Jeremy's Run Trail. I wanted to stop here though just to kind of show you the perspective of this big campsite that I showed you earlier on the way up. Here's the trail heading downstream, and right here is a little trail that takes you down there to Jeremy's Run. Okay, and here's Jeremy's Run, and right over there are some steps, even stone steps somebody put in the side of the bank there. And then up there on that little plateau, that's where that big campsite is that I showed you earlier. So there's the campsite. Here's some big rocks you can use to get across Jeremy's Run. And there's a trail going back up to, and there's Jeremy's Run Trail up there. I'm still inside the park on Jeremy's Run Trail. This part of it is part of an old road that follows Jeremy's Run up the side of the mountain. So I thought I'd turn this on for a second or two and show you what this is like. Very, very level. I'm down to about 1050 on elevation. And I'm about a mile away from my car. I'm still inside the park. So most of the rest of the way back to the car looks like this. Now here's a little uphill section, and there's one section that's real steep with switchbacks, but most of it's pretty easy hiking. There's a little different section of the trail. It's really deeply rutted and eroded. Here's a bank on that side, and there's the bank over there. So it's still pretty wide, but this part's really, really deeply worn and eroded. Kind of interesting. I'm back to the park boundary now. There's the park boundary, and I'm going to continue on down the side of the mountain to the left there. That trail section there is real steep with some switchbacks, but that gets you back down onto Jeremy Run Road, the old fire road. So here we go.